From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for the noon news. I'm Hailey Monaco. Miller has our Friday forecast, but first let's get right to our top story. Stillwater County commissioners say they won't give Stillwater mine money to the Park City School District, a tough dose of reality for the district as it struggled to find funding, even pleading with commissioners to be included in a long-time mine pact. Our Charlie Kleps reports on how they came to that decision and what it means for Park City residents.
For years, the Park City School District has been pressed for funding, and after multiple failed levy attempts, they recently attempted to be added to a Stillwater Mine Impact Plan, which would have provided the school some extra funding. But on Thursday, that failed as well, and that's leaving more concerning questions for the district going forward.
It's just tight. You know, we're running out of space.
The circumstances at Park City schools have been dire for years.
We tried to pass a mill levy last year. It didn't go.
Failed levy after failed levy has put the school in a unique bind.
This year I have to do a math teacher who's also going to be doing music.
Teachers working extra subjects, larger class sizes, and of course modular trailers instead of a solid building are just a few examples of the struggling school.
Yeah, you have to be as creative as possible, right?
The school's latest creative attempt came back in February.
We all may regret.
We don't care.
This was the explosive scene at a Stillwater County Commissioners meeting as residents sought additional funding for the school from the Stillwater mine. The funding would have come from an amendment to a mine impact plan, which allocates funds from the Stillwater mine to schools in Stillwater County that have a significant percentage of mine-working families. Commissioners voted that day to have a third party decide if Park City would be included.
At this point, this is our decision.
On Thursday, the room was much more empty as commissioners announced the decision to not amend the impact plan.
The numbers don't line up with what's required to request an amendment.
County Commissioner Steve Reveland says the study showed that not enough students at Park City warranted a change.
It's unfortunate for the schools in Park City. I understand that, but I'm confident that we made the right decision based on the facts that we have.
A gut punch for Grabowski, who says they'll just have to keep moving along.
Park City Schools is still doing everything that we can to educate our kids.
The folks that live in the district need to step up and pass a levy.
In Stillwater County, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Happy Friday, everybody, and TGIF heading into the weekend, and it is hot out there. Some areas could see some record temperatures in the next few days. But a wetter and cooler trend coming into play. We'll show you that with the local forecast coming up here in just a little bit. But first, what's going on across the U.S. today? Southwest Four Corners, monsoonal storms continue through the weekend. Of course, it's smoking hot down there in the southwest. Look at Vegas and Phoenix still in the triple digits. Portions of the eastern U.S. excessive rainfall concerns this weekend, and the East Coast, Southeast, and us folks up around these parts. Dangerous heat, yeah, triple digits for a lot of the region today and even tomorrow. It's been very dry out there. Latest drought monitor came out yesterday. All of the region in some stage of drought, even more so in western parts of Montana. Not a lot of rain heading our way the next few days, but we could see some changes in that with a cool down coming. We'll take a look coming up.
This morning, a Billings police officer was assaulted while responding to a trespassing call at a business on the 1000 block of Main Street. According to police, the male lit a bag on fire and threw it at officers when they were making initial contact. When the man was being arrested, he began assaulting officers. Billings police say he has been transported to the Yellowstone County Detention Facility for various charges. No information has been released on the man's identity. The first lawsuit is filed following a deadly E. coli outbreak in Flathead County. One person died and 12 others were infected in the outbreak. Lower Valley Processing Company in Kalispell and Gunsight Saloon are named as defendants in the case. Lower Valley Processing recalled all ground meat products produced on June 15th due to E. coli concerns. And Governor Greg Gianforte visited Missoula Thursday to take a tour of the debris drop-off location at Fort Missoula. Missoula. Last Wednesday's storm left Missoula and the surrounding areas with debris scattered on roads, sidewalks, and properties. The response, largely so far, has been by the community of Missoula itself, with neighbors helping one another. State resources were deployed immediately after the storm, with the Office of Disaster and Emergency Services providing coordination for the cleanup response, as well as the National Guard being deployed to distribute water and ice. Once the disaster declarations were officially declared, the state was then able to free up state general funds to help pay for some of the damage. MTN asked Governor Gianforte why his visit occurred a week after the storm, and the governor responded by saying the state had been involved from the beginning of the disaster response and that a visit earlier would have been a distraction.
From the first hours of this disaster, getting disaster and emergency services here, the National Guard, the disaster declaration. We've been tracking this hour by hour throughout. My arrival early in the response would have been a distraction and taken away from the actual work on the ground.
Now that the disaster declarations have gone into effect, additional resources from the state can now be deployed to assist in the cleanup efforts, as well as helping cover some of the costs of rebuilding. And with that storm causing massive damage to some people's homes, the repairs can get expensive. But if you have home or auto insurance, filing a claim could seem daunting right now. MTN checked in with an insurance agent to see what steps policyholders should follow when a claim needs to be made. Bob King, who has been in insurance for over 30 years, says it's best to make sure you call your agent and review your policy because each policy is not the same.
Homeowners insurance coverage do provide coverage for accidental direct physical loss, in this case wind damage. And so what we've seen is a lot of losses where people had trees that were blown over onto structures, onto fences, onto homes. We've also seen that some people just had parts of their roof that were blown off. So all policies are not the same, but in most instances people do have coverage under their policy for wind. And last week was, I've been doing this a long time, and I've never seen a storm like that in Missoula, Montana.
If you have questions about your policy when it comes to wind, comprehensive, or physical damage, it's best to reach out to your agent or reread your insurance policy. And the latest now on former President Trump's upcoming visit to Montana. Trump will hold a rally next week with Republican Senate hopeful Tim Sheehy. The former president's campaign confirms the event will happen in Bozeman Friday, August 9th. The rally will be held at the Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. Doors for the event open at 4 p.m. and Trump is slated to deliver remarks at 8 p.m. Tickets for the event can be requested through the Trump campaign website. And Trump is familiar with the Treasure State, having visited 4 times during the 2018 campaign, holding rallies in Great Falls, Bozeman, Missoula, and Billings. So what do folks think of this event? Our Jonathan Ambarian took to the streets of Helena to find out.
One thing's clear, regardless of what people think about former President Donald Trump, they say his visit to Montana is going to bring a lot of attention. Trump held his first rally in Montana in 2016 in Billings during the Republican primaries for president. He then traveled to the state 4 times in 2018 during Montana's U.S. Senate campaign, holding rallies in Great Falls, Billings, Missoula, and Bozeman. Paul Bellamy wasn't able to attend then, but knows people who did.
Drew a lot of people, and they were pretty upfront about it.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good thing.
He says he likes Trump's business experience and hopes he'll have a localized message at the event.
I don't think he needs to boast on his record as much as he does. I want to hear more about what he's going to do for Montana, and I believe that a rural state like we have, we get forgotten about a lot, especially back east.
The Trump campaign made tickets for the rally available Thursday. Joan Hobine says she would love to attend, but she's dealing with family health problems at the moment. She says she wants to hear him talk about issues like border security and what she calls ridiculous policy.
In this country, what we believe without being put down or called racist or anything else. And that's one of the things I want him to talk about.
She believes his visit will be a good thing for Montana.
People need to speak out and they need to vote. Whether they're Democrat or Republican, we need votes.
Of course, many Montanans aren't as supportive of Trump's visit. I talked to several of them who didn't want to go on camera for this story, but had concerns about things like the tone of the campaign. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Still to come on your statewide noon news, Miller will have a look at your weather and will tell you about an easy and direct way to get up-to-date information during disasters.